Yo, 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 welcome to this week's episode.
Welcome to episode 36 of our horror movie review show. I know what you watched last week. Karen gave a bit of a snippet there into what we watched, and it wasn't half bad, I must say.
It had to be done.
Once we get into it. So without further ado, what movies did we suffer through this week?
So my opener inspiration was from the first film we watched called Follow Me.
As in, follow me online. Don't follow
Hit
me
follow,
around the street or anything like
click
that.
subscribe, like it. Yeah? Okay. Then the second film we watched was Nightlight, right?
Yeah, found
Nightlight.
footage style Nightlight.
And
Nightlight.
we rounded it off
It's
with...
like a child's comfort, isn't it? A nightlight.
Yeah.
You have a nightlight on, yeah.
Yeah, when you're scared of the dark.
I had the Thomas the Tank Engine plug-in one when I was,
I had a lava lamp.
30.
Classic. So the third one we watched was Game of Death.
Game of Death. Yeah, not Touch of Death like I've been teaching you. Because Corin's got the Kung Fu, but I've got the years of, watching The Karate Kid, watching Van Damme, watching Wesley Snipes, watching Chuck Norris, you name it. And so obviously I've got the Touch of Death.
Real world skills.
Mm-hmm. Whoa, it took you down, didn't it?
Are you admitting on our channel now to
I applied
beating
the
me?
Touch of Death to
Is that
you.
what you're trying to say? Because that's not...
It's not
That's not
beating,
cool.
it's the claw on the pressure points. Yeah, so I took you down. So all the kung fu that you got, abroad, it can't compete with years and years of Karate Kid and the like.
You're such an idiot. Let's get straight into our rankings. Would you like to do the honours or shall I?
You can go first.
Okay. So for me, relatively clear this week, I think. Third place, Game of Death.
What?
So dumb. I know.
Oh, you've done it again.
And second place was that stinking garbage that is called Nightlight. And first place by far goes to Yo Yo Yo! Watch me live! Everyone,
right.
follow me.
Third place for me is Follow Me.
What?
Second place is Nightlight. And number one is Game of Death.
There's something wrong with
There's
you.
something wrong with you. So I think we should do it in my order.
Okay.
And open with
With
Follow Me. Yeah.
Best movie ever made.
Yeah. So you've done your impressions. Now let me just sum up what's going on for anyone who might watch this. Oh, before I kick the mic stand again. So we've got a vlogging sensation who takes his online goon squad to Moscow to, check it, film the most fire content bro has ever seen for reals in Escape Real Life with Cole being the guy that runs the channel. And let me tell you, his content, there's only really one way to describe it, and that would be lit AF. I'm talking lit AF, right?
Yeah, he seems to particularly do like dangerous or scary stunts.
Look, I mean, this content is so lit AF, right? That he says things like, "You watched, you followed, you commented, you watched a little more. Then we asked you what you wanted to see, and you voted, and we did it. YOLO, bitches."
Yeah. Although
So it's ultra mega engaging stuff.
This guy though has managed to clearly make some money because we find him with his
Like I
friends
said, his channel's lit AF, Karen.
on some like super nice private jet on their way to Moscow for
Yeah,
this next one.
and-
I was like, how have they afforded that? Is that how much you get for
Well,
doing...
you saw the likes, you saw the comments, you saw the fire emojis and stuff like that. So when they get on the private plane, Cole, he like asks his best friend, he gets his phone out obviously, and he's like, "So yo, Dash, let me know, let everyone know, what have we got planned? And he's like, yo, I got the hook up, brah. I call my friend Alexi. He got the clubs, the restaurant, the women, the experiences. This guy is so rich. Everything he does is legit, and you know how we do. Oh!
I really hope that was verbatim,
and then,
because
like,
that would be really impressive.
Cole turns the phone back round himself, and he's like, oh.
Yeah.
And then he puts the phone down, and on said private jet, he, for about 5 seconds, just glances out the window with a serious look on his face, like a moment of introspection, like, am I deeper than this online shtick? And then quickly they land in Moscow, and Dash is going through the conveyor belt of the baggage claim.
What a
and
dum-dum.
Cole's loving it, so moment of introspection.
Well,
over.
It's something to film, isn't it? You know, something super cool and out there to film, someone breaking the law in Russia.
The Russian border force don't take too kindly to Dash going through the conveyor belt. And when I was watching that, I was going to bring it up in one of the live streams we did a couple of weeks ago, but it slipped my mind. We were in Munich. We were at Munich airport a few weeks ago, and we're in the lounge. Well, not the lounge. We're just in the waiting area, waiting to board our flight. And the place is packed. There's bags everywhere. There's not enough seats for everybody and all this. In front of us, a bit further forward, in the middle of everybody, by the way, are about 25 to 30 Americans, grown I'm talking like 30-year-olds. And as I said, the place is packed. And for some, you'd gone to go and get something to eat or drink or something, and you came back and you saw my face, and you were like, "What?" And I said, "Just look over there." And these two like 30-year-old American guys just pulled out an American football and started throwing it around in the waiting area when everyone's like just wants to get on the plane. And within 60 seconds, they dropped the fucking thing twice, and that wasn't enough for them to think, "Oh, first of all, we shouldn't be throwing a ball around in the airport waiting area, and secondly, we just dropped it twice in under a minute." So they had to be told off by the nice German with the gun.
Do you know what the thing
is? And then we have to be transferred by shuttle bus to the steps of the airplane to board the flight, and all the Americans get on and they just stand in the middle of the shuttle bus, therefore not letting anyone else on until, excuse me Americans, can you just kind of like move into the bus so everyone else can get on? Now the thing is, you know, I'm a fan of Americans and I love America. Every time I've been to America, I've never met a girl that didn't like enjoy their company. But there's something about the Yanks that come to Europe, and I just want to know. You know, we talked to a lot of American guys and girls on the live stream. I just want to know what they think if they ever watch this.
I also want to say,
it's like
when
secondhand
you bring
embarrassment. It's like when you see a Brit just puke his guts up in Spain or something, and you're just like, oh god, just giving everyone a bad name. You go.
Thank you. I promised myself I wasn't going to get frustrated with your cutting over me all the time this week, but it's already gone to pot. That was the last straw already. We've barely begun.
You should think of yourself more as a co-host.
What I was going to say was that the funniest thing is that every time I see guys just chucking American football around, it makes me think of The Room and Tommy Wiseau saying, "Well, it's just so American." And I was actually on a set the other day, well, a few weeks ago, with Mark Wahlberg, and between takes, I'm not kidding, in between takes, just one of his like entourage came out, and the two of them just started chucking a football, American football, about to each other, and I was like, wait, they actually do this?
Yeah, like literally, scene's over. Okay, get my, he's got a guy in his entourage who's probably just there to throw balls at Mark Wahlberg. So he's like, get my ball throwing guy, because we've got a break in scene.
But luckily, of course, they had the whole street closed down, so they weren't in an airport waiting lounge. So you could chuck the ball about. Yeah. But I think without any more tangents, we should probably actually continue with Follow Me, since that's what this.
Well, we've already told them what it's all about, and this most fire content which they're going to do is
Well, we haven't said
an extreme escape room.
Important, because we also haven't mentioned his little group of people that are with him. One of them that you keep mentioning, I think he's also an influencer. I got the feeling, but
who's an influencer?
Just one of the other guys. There's only like 5 of them anyway.
There's
right?
Dash, his annoying friend, who was like, "Oh, we got the hookup, bro. The restaurant's that guy."
Well, there's the like
the one who's in the coffin and nails.
Androgynous skater girl. And
yeah,
he also has his girlfriend with him, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And we do see them kind of spending a little bit of time alone together before they go to the escape room, and there's this whole undertone with her just being like, I wish you could treat me as like well as you treat your fans, like you're never really here, and stuff.
Well, once again, you said that I've not said much about the movie, but you've gone too far ahead, because once they get to the airport and they've gone through the conveyor belt and been told off like naughty Americans, Mr. Next Level shows up in his shades, the Russian Alexei, and he's like, yo, everybody, let's get it on this week. And he takes the goon squad to the hotel, and of course they get their phones out because the hotel is fire. It is lit AF. And then Alexei takes them to the lit AF fire Russian club, where there are like fire women, fire drinks, firemen, fire hydrants, fire extinguishers. And, everything is fire. They're all having a great time. But then these troublesome Ruskies start taking an interest in one of the girls.
Cole's girlfriend, in fact.
Evil Russians.
And he's too busy.
And that is not fire.
He's too busy filming his cool experience to notice his friend being like, "Look, your girlfriend's being accosted over there," until it's like too late.
I love how like everything was fire in the first 15 minutes, and now it's not fire.
Anyway, so there's like guns are drawn, it's high tension, and even
the crazy Russian,
Alexei,
he promises to come back wherever you are and I will kill you.
Yeah, so Alexei established he was like high ranking in the airport by sorting that out, but apparently he's lower ranking than these mobsters, so they like scared him, but he managed to defuse the situation. And then we get to the escape room, right?
No. After this altercation, we then just have the crew just chilling out in Russia, as you do. And they're all wearing... Apparently it's pretty cold in Russia, in Moscow. So they're all wearing woolly hats, obviously. But Cole's got his hat on. And his hat doesn't even go over his ears. He's just wearing it like a large head sock. And the rest of them are just dressed inappropriately. It's like having a glove and just putting the edge of it on your fingers and not fully putting it on. And the way this guy dressed, the way he acted... everything, the way that he sold his channel just reminds me of those, two American brothers, those YouTubing brothers from America, who gormless, talentless, and then we've got the guy here who's picked 3 random letters of the alphabet to be his name, and he has zero about him, like no character, and he's on TV over here on something called Britain's Got Talent. I mean, you can imagine how great the talent is when he's the fucking judge. I have just nothing but contempt for these people. So Cole...
so unusual for you.
So Cole... like, I've never... Imagine being outright number 1 of all of the horror movies that I've seen, including all of this trash stuff that we watch on this show. He is outright number 1. He's probably never going to be beaten. I just wanted him to die ASAP. As soon as he gets on the screen, die. And his mate, Dash, there's something wrong with that guy in general, I reckon, that actor. And the lead. They were poor. There's something wrong with that Dash guy, I'm telling you.
So anyway, Cole has been promised some once-in-a-lifetime escape room that's tailored just to him, and they eventually get there.
What a letdown.
And they haven't got their phones on them, but the like security cams in the actual escape room are streaming, so all his fans can follow it.
Yeah, so he can still walk around going, "Yo, this place is legit! Is anybody else here? Yo, I'm in a machine, bro. Oh my god, that sounds fire."
Do you know what it is?
It just carries on.
In this movie...
phone or no phone.
It shows you exactly how awkward and embarrassing it is when people do that for a living, when you have to like get on a plane and be like, yo, everyone, look how cool this is. And then you turn it off and you start just like editing it and looking like...
Then they're not putting on an act, they just have no self-awareness.
But yeah, so he's going around and he's been told that he needs to save his friends before the time is up. Yeah, so and he starts following like one of their voices calling from some cell.
One of the first things that he does is rip off Saw again, because he has a body in front of him, a dead body, and he has to go inside the dead body and pull out the intestines to get the key and all that. So we've already got another blatant Saw rip-off.
Yeah.
Not just like an homage, just, let's just take this from Saw and do it ourselves.
And at this point, he's obviously like, wow, this is really well done, but it seems to be...
it's a bit close to the edge.
It's like supposed to be making us think that actually maybe the body is real and something's going wrong here.
Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, after doing the, yo, this is off the chain and stuff, he gets to the cell, which has 2 of them in it. One of them's on like a stretching rack torture device, and the other one's in an Iron Maiden with a door open. But when the timer starts, it starts, stretching the guy, and the spikes start coming closer.
He's like, yo, this is fire.
Yeah.
The spikes are almost coming to my head, bro. This is lit AF.
Cole has to go and do some, like, puzzle to stop it from happening. But it's so annoying because his friends are clearly telling him, like...
He has to put gears on the wall, doesn't he? And work them out.
It was bizarre. But he's, being told by his friends how much pain they're in and, like, dude, hurry up, and, like, this really hurts. And he's just like, yeah, no worries, man. Let me just, like, chill out here and, like, talk for a minute, and then I'm gonna go and put up the gears on the wall. It was, that annoyed me more about him than just his general presence, as it seems to have done for you.
Well, that example you've just given there was his general presence. So, yeah, that's all you get from him.
Yeah.
So I think we're saying the same thing. I think we're saying the same thing. We wanted him to die.
And then we get to the, the alternative skater girl, guy, androgynous person, and she's... What was she, in a gas chamber? No, electric chair, that was it.
She was annoying is what she was, like the rest of the goon squad.
Oh my gosh,
she reminded me of Scrappy Doo. He's like, I'll get him. All mouth and no trousers.
You know those games where you have to, like, get a wand around...
A wand?
Just let me finish.
Shazam!
A wand around the wire without touching it. It's like a game you get at some fairgrounds and whatnot, and if it, like, buzzes,
you're
you've
just
lost.
fantasising about Harry Radcliffe again. Harry Radcliffe.
You are so dumb. Or that
Boy.
operations game. Basically, you're not allowed to touch something, and there was like a maze, and they had to get to the middle of the maze, and every time they touched the side,
It electrocuted
that girl. And again, she was being way too... I mean...
What I love, though, was that Dash took away the
clearly
needle.
in pain.
He took away the operating needle from someone that's probably cold. He's like, dude, just give it here, I can do it. And he's like, meh.
It was so frustrating.
What a twat.
He was such a dickhead. That's the one I think was the other influencer
The problem
guy.
was, though, I didn't care about the girl being electrocuted. I was like, yeah, just electrocute her, please.
But these people are supposed to be friends, and she's clearly
Yeah,
crying
they're
out
all
in
fake,
pain,
aren't
and
they?
he's still just like, no, I don't think this is real, and like, duh, 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 duh. And I was like, why are you even bothering if you're so bad? So they do eventually crack the code and get her out. So far, they've all survived just about. And,
Did we mention that the girlfriend is in a water tank?
Well,
as
that's
well?
the last one.
Right.
Is the girlfriend, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, we see her in a tank first, an empty tank, and he just walks past her and then sees
He's
the guy
chill.
in the.
It's
the
all a
Iron
game,
Maiden.
right? And he doesn't get scared. Cole doesn't get scared.
Yeah, he
But
just gets fire.
So she's in a water tank, like one of those escape things like magicians do,
Yeah.
and it's starting to fill up, and he has to like go and find the.
Is she strapped?
key
I
or
thought she was
something.
banging on.
No, she's
on
not.
the-
I'm saying
right.
like they use
Okay.
for those magician tricks when they. Anyway, and I don't remember. Oh no, that was it. So the change came at one point. You know, Cole goes from thinking, "Oh, this is all just a game," to realizing, as far as he knows, this is actually real. And I think it is after the electrocution girl comes out. She's like, "No, that was actually electrocuted."
When he starts to realise that not everything is fire,
Yeah.
and
Unless it's
there
great
are
content,
serious
I don't know.
consequences now.
So then, when his girlfriend's tank starts filling up with water, and they try kind of half-heartedly to like pry bits off the top or whatever, and he's running around, and she's clearly drowning. And they weren't doing very much.
This bit didn't stick in my head. I remember the scene, but I don't
I
have much to
remember
say about
it.
it.
So your friend is apparently drowning in front of you, and they're just kind of like, oh no, but just standing around. And Cole is kind of trying to do something, but he's being a bit useless. And then he's just running back and forth.
Well, he doesn't know what to do without his phone, does he? He's completely incapable of just breathing, living in general without it, or streaming to other cameras.
She dies.
Once he has to deal with real life,
Right.
he's completely incapable.
She drowns in that tank. So
I
that's.
don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think she does. So then there's 4 of them left. And at this point, obviously, they've all been calling into the cameras, like, to the people in the control room or whatever.
Alexi, this is
Stop
not
it!
fire anymore. I thought it was going to be lit AF. You told me it's going to be lit AF, bro. And it turns out that Dash, he sold all of his mates saying that, oh yeah, I know this Alexi guy really well. And it turns out he's only known him for, one IMing session or whatever. And then everyone flips out and they're like, bro, you told us that you knew this guy, bro. And he's like, bro, if I had told you everything, it wouldn't be a surprise, bro.
So after that spot-on impression, I don't actually remember... Do you remember how they get from... So at this point, clearly, Alexei is not... No one's responding. They're in it on their own.
Alexei does not respond to puny Americans in escape room.
Just... They get out of the escape room area.
That was for Chuko.
That's it. So then we see the two gangster guys from the nightclub who even scared Alexei. Yeah. They are there now, right? So they've like taken over and they put the remaining 4...
There is no diversity in Russia. They are all just evil. And want to kill you. So... And take your womans. That is not fire for Americans.
So they put the remaining people in various cells again. And so Cole is first. He's put in a chair with like camera on him, and he gets introduced to one of these bad guys, and he basically is like, "Do you know how much people would pay to see you die?"
Oh, so you can do the impressions and I can't?
No, you just go way too long, where it's no longer the point. He's saying basically that people are going to pay to watch the Americans get
method. Once
killed.
I go there.
And he has like an array of gross.
Well, this is the hostile guy.
They have a hostile Russian who takes man and put him in chair and kill him.
Yeah, it's exactly hostile. You're right.
It is.
Yeah.
After having seen saw bits.
And then he puts Cole back in his cell and says, like, you'll be last. So Cole knows that his other 3 friends are going to be done
My
in.
audience is more discerning than your audience, and they pay big money for American.
Yeah.
That's what he's all about, isn't he?
And I think we see... Wait, well, there are 4 of them. We see, like, at least one of them
I am
get
available
killed.
for, thug, gangster, wrong and Russian roles if anybody's interested.
Yeah. So we see them getting, like, tortured. Apparently the audience gets to pick how they want them to go. So, yeah, this hostile Russian guy is, like, offing them. And Cole manages to get into the air vent system.
Yeah, we have a bit of a Die Hard moment, the camera in front of his face as he's squirreling through. And of course, he's too dumb to keep quiet once he stumbles upon, the naughty Russian guy with the guy in his chair.
Yeah, and...
Through the vent.
Somehow, despite the fact that they've heard him and they're, like, chasing him down through the vent, he manages to get to the exit door, and then this wad of cash that the driver had given him early on, with the little weird numbers stored in the middle, turns out that's the code for the door, and he gets out.
But you just know that if Cole had his phone on him at that point when he's crawling through the vent and he came across the Russian guy with the guy in the chair, he would have just got his phone out and started filming him, being like, "Oh my god, this is not fire for you, bro." That's what would have happened.
Yeah. And so Cole stumbles out into like a parking lot, and the driver who saved him is there and basically says, I couldn't
the
help
driver
everyone,
is made out to be shady when we first see him, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he's like a red herring because he's actually a nice guy.
But he's gone.
There is a nice Russian then. I guess Russian drivers are nice people.
Hey, I'm nice Russian. Hey, I drive you.
The henchmen.
I try to warn you, but you don't listen.
The henchmen find out that Cole has escaped and they reckon it's the driver, so then he gets dragged in and you're like, oh, that's no good. And Cole has a last minute sense of like, well, I can't leave without my, like, I think it's his childhood friend, one of them.
Oh, his best mate is He's just as annoying as the rest of them. He's supposed to be like the more mellow, collected one, but he's still,
I don't live online.
He's still just a moron.
But yeah, so Cole then re-enters through
him
the
to die as well.
entrance. This place is also, by the way, massive, because every time he's like trying to get away from the henchmen, there's always somewhere to go.
Yeah, well, that's why this escape room is so fire, because it's not just like your tiny one-room experience. This is you can go anywhere, and all your mates are tied up.
But this isn't part of the escape room.
And it's legit.
Or is it?
Well, is it? That's the thing, is it?
And he manages to get his mate, who, I don't remember why, but he's like blind? Oh, that was it. He lost his glasses. His glasses were cracked. And so he's like going around like, I can't see anything. And
Losing
Cole
your
is like
glasses
leading
is
him.
a bit different from being blind.
They're being really loud and just not doing a very good job of escaping, really. Are they?
Yeah, this was all... Yeah, the general stuff. I'm trying to think of if there's anything... more worthwhile to say before
the twist.
Well, it's not really a twist, is it? Because we just saw it coming. No, I've said everything I need to say. At the end, Cole has seen all of his mates perish, or so he thinks, and he comes to the end, and he's standing there, and I think he sees another dead body in front of him when he comes out. Or no, someone's standing there.
Well, Alexi's waiting for him.
Of course, it's Alexi. Alexi's waiting for him, standing underneath a spotlight. Cole is, freaked out and frazzled, as I said, because his friends have died, so he runs towards Alexi and beats the crap out of him, and then out of the shadows...
Kills him.
Step all of his mates and all of the, Russian guys who were in the club, and they're all kind of clapping him, oh, this is all... It's The Game, but it's essentially the end of a movie called The Game with Michael Douglas that they've done here. So that's another tick to just straight rip off.
Yeah, but they're kind of clapping, but they're also horrified because they realise that he's killed Alexi.
Yeah, they stop clapping, obviously, once they realise what he's done.
But I didn't understand, how none of those people who are all just standing around didn't step in and stop Alexi being killed. They're, just standing there watching, and then they're like, oh my god, I can't believe you did that.
Well, it's another reason that this film is bottom for me and top for you.
Yeah. I thought it was quite funny, I have to admit.
It was funny in a way that this shouldn't be funny. But it is.
Still funny. And even though it's just stealing from all different movies you've seen before, whoa, that was loud. Mm-hmm. It was still always moving on. So at least it didn't sit and drag for ages. It's just
brainless entertainment again, isn't it?
And
we've watched a lot of escape roomy ones, Saw rip-offs recently. It's just another one. And was this better than... what was that one that I ripped off we went into the other day? There's so many of them.
Escape Puzzle of Fear, I think.
Escape Puzzle of Fear. The Task as well.
But also, again...
With the sheet guy.
Yeah. This movie did that thing where once the twist is revealed, it goes back and shows you different angles of the moment. So, for example, I remember the bit when the girlfriend is in the water tank supposedly drowning. They suddenly make out that she had time and the ability to get a breathing pump. The friends are all just chilling out because they know it's all just fake. So they're suggesting, first of all, that just physically wouldn't be possible. So them being psych is...
Psych!
Is so not right.
Psycho!
Psych!
Escape real life, bro!
And also I doubt that all these people that he knows could be such good actors.
Maybe the message of this movie is don't psych out your bros, because you might think it's going to be fire, but then it is not fire. So think twice before you psych.
Yeah, I think that was a great little roundup there, Johnny. Thank you. So, moving on to our second film.
We're just done with that now.
Yeah, we're done with that. You've summed it up, the message.
Yeah.
There's not much more to say.
Thanks.
Peace out, everyone.
Thanks, yeah.
So, the next movie...
I thought that review was lit AF, to be honest, yeah. The next movie is the found footage style Nightlight. Yeah. If you're not aware, I mean, it's quite something that for both of us who are not huge fans of the found footage genre, that it's something anyway that this movie didn't come bottom for either of us.
I suppose, but it
mainly
wasn't...
because it probably just stole mainly from Blair Witch. I was like, oh, yeah.
I swear it wasn't
Witch.
all found footage, though, was it?
No, it wasn't. But it's in that kind of just
it was in that
handheld
type, I guess,
cam style.
But it's, oh my gosh, if
it would definitely come under.
I thought the characters in this were just as annoying, but the story was slower. That's why this didn't get as high up as Follow Me. So we get the main girl, who just seems to be some sort of social reject, and she's pathetically happy to be invited out to play some game with the cool kids.
To play Nightlight. She's been invited. It opens with some whiny teen talking into his camera about how, I think he just doesn't want to be here anymore.
Right.
It opens with that, and then it gets into the story and the forest or the woods that these kids go to, these school kids, the college kids, whatever they are, to play Nightlight. More recently, one of their classmates, or at least someone in their school, has gone there and ended themselves, right? And this has not put off your, sad, irritating character of going to the woods and playing Nightlight with, I guess, a crew of people who play this game all the time.
Yeah, which, I mean, I don't know many people in their teens to late teens that go out into the middle of the forest and...
You'll
games.
Be. I don't know if you've forgotten about this, but when this lead woman character goes to the forest and she's walking around when we see her torch in front of her and there's no one around, she's calling out for everyone, and you said that the reveal of all the lads coming out in the bushes was like hobbits or something coming out of the Shire.
Yeah, that was it. All these people, apparently they must have just been lying in wait for her, because they weren't like coming together as a group who'd been chatting. They like each had dotted themselves out of sight somewhere in the forest, and they just kind of emerged like little forest elves. It was weird.
You had a huge reaction to that, yeah.
And I think it was, so she's got a crush, the like outcast girl.
Yeah.
She's got a crush on a guy who is the one who invited her along. But then
Cool guy.
there's like, what, 2 guys and 2 girls in this cool group, I think. And then the outcast girl. And the outcast girl is like, oh, you know, thank you guys so much for letting me come and play. And one of the girls isn't quite so accepting. She's one of the, like, you know, bitchy types who's like, dude, you brought your dog? That's, like, super weird.
I forgot she brought her dog as well.
She did bring her dog, which...
What an idiot.
I mean, I didn't find it as weird that she brought her dog as the fact that she then tied her dog up and left it. I was like, if you're going to bring your dog along to the forest to play a game at night, that's probably actually not a bad idea. But keep him with you the whole time then. What's the point otherwise?
I then remember a part where they're all just standing around talking about playing Nightlight, and all of a sudden this random girl comes out of nowhere and peeps over a rock and is like, I want to play. I know all the rules and stuff, and like one of the guys is like, okay, you can play, I guess, because she says some kind of like something that could be interpreted as a sexual innuendo.
Was that this one?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Nightlight. And then he's taken off to like a part of the like the woods or whatever, and the girl jumps off the side.
Are you sure that's this movie?
No,
and not
I'm
a
not.
different
I'm
one?
not
Because
entirely
I don't think
sure.
that's this one. I think that's a different movie we saw.
As in for I know
they
watched
play
the week
they
after
play
this
some
one.
game. Yeah, they play some game in a cemetery in that one. I don't think that's this one. I don't think that's this one.
So what's the one where they play a game in the cemetery?
Just have a look at that for a minute, because you might have in your notes. I'll continue with this one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I've got hobbits appearing out from the woods. That's one.
You don't have to read your notes out. I just said I was going to speak a bit.
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
It won't be as good as my notes, but carry on.
Okay. So this game that these 5 people are going to play in the forest at night in the middle of nowhere.
It's like the train flashlight game.
Is
Train flashlight.
No.
That is this movie, because it's definitely in the notes.
No,
for
yeah, but
Nightlight.
the flashlight game is not the one with the
What
girl
about
in it.
What about the I'm a Greek statue game, where they're all naked and posing at the edge of the river?
No. Yeah, this Nightlight game thing that they play. So they've each got a torch, of course, and so they play different games revolving around a torch.
I thought I just played one game, Nightlight.
No, Nightlight is like a combination of it all, because they start by doing what you were mentioning. So they put their torch down on the train tracks, and then they have to like run a certain amount, come back and get the torch. The next person has to run a bit further, and like all of it's like a game of chicken with an oncoming train. And of course, the bitchy girl makes it so that the nerdy girl has like almost no chance of doing it, and she almost gets hit.
I thought she was just doing that to show off, because she goes more than she has to.
Yeah, but it's obvious she knew the train was coming, so she wanted the other girl who's going next. Are you not picking up on this? Is that too subtle for you? Is that like girl cruelty?
That girl who went last, she was showing off because she went more than one time. So she was like, oh, even though the train's coming, I'm going to go again. It's going to get me at the last second. And then she's trotted off by this ghost, and she falls off the side of a cliff, remember?
That was a different girl.
That was a different movie, you told me.
No, I'm pretty sure. And then, so that's one thing they do. And then another thing they do is, wait, is that from this one? You've got the notes, Johnny. You're throwing all these ideas out that I'm getting confused
what
now.
one?
Is the torches on the train tracks part of Nightlight?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, yeah, as I thought. So just stop confusing me, Johnny.
I'm not. I didn't tell you that's not in there.
I thought you.
You just started second guessing.
And then there's this different game that
What's
they
the next
play,
game?
where they left the dog tied up.
Was that the one where they sit on the stump and
They
count to
sit
100?
on a stump and get blindfolded or something, and they have to count
to 100.
and then go and find people. And if you can't find anyone, then your like way of giving up is saying Nightlight. But again, I have to stop here in this moment. So first the like outcast girl does it, I think, and then the cool guy that she fancies does it, and both of them, when they are put in their blindfolds,
Get jump scared.
no, both of them start confessing like their feelings for the other person, even though the other person isn't there, and it's so
Hey,
like-
Jenny, I just wanted to say that, in this 5 minutes that we've been hanging out together... Wait, I know you're not there.
yeah.
And God damn it.
So stupid. And it's
Hey, Richard, I just wanted to say that in the first 5 minutes we've been together, You're not there, Richard, are you?
it's stupid enough doing it once, but when they both do it, I was like, what is the point in this?
Their names
my
aren't Richard and
God.
whatever else I said either, by the way. Who cares what their names are?
Yeah, and I think it's this game they're playing when stuff starts to like go a bit wrong.
When you said that you didn't like any of these characters, right? I mean, who gives a shit about, what happens in this movie in terms of storyline? There's a bit where they're walking through the forest and one of the characters says, "Yo, this is a gay-ass forest!" And he's high on Red Bull. So he's clearly, he's had too much taurine and he's now, accusing the forest of, having a sexuality. And then one of his mates then says, "Yo, I heard this is a great place for a blowjob. Ghost blowjobs." Or someone asks him, "What, ghost blowjobs?" But what I like there is that he's planting the seed. He's just mentioning the idea of fellatio. So he's putting it out there. Unfortunately, he was not successful in this time.
There's been a lot of talk of ghosts and sex with you in the last few episodes, Johnny.
Well, it's not my fault what we watch, is it? I didn't write it. I'll just say what happens.
But anyway, like this.
Those bits didn't stick out in your head?
This movie was just really dull, to be honest. Like we're on this game now, and of course things start like people aren't being found, they're getting split up, and there's like a
You hear rustling in the bushes.
whole supernatural thing starts being introduced of people passing out and acting weird or forgetting stuff.
How do you not remember that I'm a Greek statue? They like stand at the edge of, a rock
something's maybe
formation,
coming back to me now.
and I think they jump into some water, and they're all like in their pants, and they're like, "I'm a Greek statue," and then they jump in, and then the next one goes, "I'm a Greek statue," and jumps in, and everyone's down a Greek statue, and then they start having a conversation,
So dumb.
and two of the girls confess that they have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer / Grinch sexual fantasies.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
So you've forgotten all the important stuff. That was weird.
That was super weird.
Yeah. Was it weirder than calling a forest gay?
I mean, I was so bored. But we start just getting like random glimpses. So
Well, actually, so the nerdy girl, as you called her, she has, or they have between them one phone or something like this. And one of the guys takes the phone and like gets the battery and throws the battery deep into the woods at night so that she can't,
I don't remember
she
that
can't
either.
go home or quit the game. And then he gets eaten by a wolf. So where's that come from? 1 minute they're playing Nightlight and we're having like a jump scare movie where like the bushes are rustling and the dog might have seen something, and then the next minute he's being eaten by a wolf. You don't remember this either.
Yeah, so this
are you,
movie just
are
went
you
in
now
and
going
out.
to accuse me of saying that this isn't in this movie either? There's no
it's
werewolves in
specifically
Nightlight.
the girl one. I think that's it. Forget Me Not. The girl with the I know everything. That's Forget Me Not. That's not this movie.
Okay, it's very similar that scene though. Yeah, it could be in this movie.
But it wasn't.
Nightlight flat out steals from Blair Witch Project, which I'm sure other, actually most other found footage movies have, obviously, 'cause it's like the granddaddy. But this one straight doesn't like give a damn about how obvious it is, because they get to a point where they're trying to escape the forest and one of them goes, "We're just walking around in circles," and then there's something watching us, and then one of them starts talking to a wall, which just happens at the end of Blair Witch. They just literally took so many things from the movie and just inserted it into this one,
It was
and that was the best
essentially
part. That was the best part about it.
just a whole movie of like these annoying characters wandering around in the dark with their torches
The
going on
only
and
thing
off.
the only thing that they didn't do from the Blair Witch was a bit of snotty nose cam. which again is in so many found footage horrors. It's like not everyone has snotty nose cam when they're scared just because Blair Witch did it. There's also there's characters who get left by a tree and they just start dozing.
Yeah, that's what I said. They start passing
sleeping.
out. That's two of the girls.
Yeah,
but we find out that apparently there's like some supernatural force in this forest that when it starts taking you over, and again somehow they found this out. They looked something up online and found out like, oh, it makes you like sleepy and it changes the way you act and stuff.
Yeah, because it's a notorious forest because of all the troubled teens that have gone there.
Yeah.
And the more recent teen that has gone there.
And I'm pretty sure, like, pretty much everyone gets picked off one by one slowly, don't they? Until we've just got the nerdy girl left.
Yeah, you've got the nerdy girl. And basically that's what happens. Everyone gets picked off one by one. And the movie ends, but it goes back to the guy that opens the movie, talking into his camera. And he's like, oh, I'm going into the woods, and I hope that my ex realises that I'm going into the woods with my torch. And I was just thinking, well, if you're going into the woods to end yourself, why even bring a torch? Why even go to the woods? I mean, why broadcast it to everybody? Let me just say, if you are a troubled teen, there's a guy that we somewhat know from online Monster Fam. His name is Davis, and I promise, if you just have a one-on-one shock therapy session with him, you will be right as rain, and it will be shock therapy, but you'll only need 5 minutes, and it's not really licensed shock therapy, but nonetheless that is what it is, and you'll realize after 5 minutes with this guy that you are worthy of being in all that. And,
shout out Davis.
Speaking of Davis,
shout out Monster Fam.
He left a long comment on one of the scenes from the short of Heathen recently, which I believe you called The Red Room, right, where Josh is smoking, then he sees a vision of Renee. And in that comment, he's either taking the piss, thinking that he's written down all his subtext. He's gleaned all the subtext from the scene, because there are no words spoken, there's no dialogue in this scene, and he has literally picked apart all of the subtext. So it's either he's ultra smart or seen too many movies, I'm being too vague, or he somehow has access to my extensive notes on Heathen.
Handwritten.
Somewhere, yeah. I've written some on my phone, so maybe they could be intercepted. But on the other hand, the fact that he has gotten all of that, it's nice when someone gets you. And what I would say is, in that scene where there is no dialogue, but there's a lot to unpack, that scene says more than any of these 3 movies that we're reviewing combined. It really, and probably 99% of what we watch on here. But yeah, I did enjoy that comment, whether you're taking the piss or not.
Going back to the movie and kind of the end of it, because you mentioned that guy who we see at the beginning and the end talking into his camera.
Yeah.
And it turns out that this guy and the nerdy girl were like, I guess friends. You said girlfriend, I thought they were just friends. And he invited her to the dance every year. But this one year, she's like, oh, I can't go. Which is so stupid, because she knows he's going to be there. And the reason she said she can't go is because she doesn't want to go with him. So she is there. He sees her. That's pushed him over the edge. And he's decided my life is no longer worth living. And that's when he decides to end it. So he has been like haunting all these friends up in the forest, with
Selfish.
her being the last one. I literally don't remember if she dies or not. No, she survives, right? Does she die?
I don't know. The movie is just so mindless.
So inconsequential.
Yeah, completely inconsequential. I do have a feeling, though, that, Dr. Jacoby from Twin Peaks, especially in Twin Peaks The Return, where he has he's got his online channel, and he has those spray painted shovels, shove your way out of the shit.
Yeah.
And only Nadine Hurley seems to watch his show, the lady with the eye patch.
Yeah.
After last night we did the Monster Fam stream
on Chuko's Powerhouse Cinema,
and we watched Leprechaun Returns. And after the insanity of it, Davis really I feel like Davis has a Dr. Jacoby style channel on YouTube somewhere where he's putting out that same kind of content, and women with eye patches are lapping it up. I'm convinced.
Okay. So on that note, is there anything more you want to say about Nightlight? Because I've got nothing That's like my brain pick clear for that movie. Which is
Well,
not very
that's
much.
everything that happens. You know, what more do you want? You've got
So no, so then let's
torch
move
games
on.
in the woods. You've got jump scares, which you see coming a mile off, and you've got a wolf. A wolf comes out of the woods as well. Oh, and
Yeah.
also there's a guy makes quite a deep speech by a rock. That's something to look out for. So moving on to number one.
My last place.
Number one for me, and bottom for you, Game of Death.
And
which-
this was the one that I picked.
Yeah, you did pick this because you love board games. And the cover of the movie online just shows the said game.
It's not really much of a board game though, is it?
No.
It comes in a board, but that's about it. It's not like Jumanji or something where you actually play it.
Well, this is like a horror Jumanji.
But you still like make moves in Jumanji.
I'm not talking
This
about whether you
one,
make moves.
there's
I'm just
no,
saying it's
anything.
it's a board game that comes to life in a horror movie. So it's the Jumanji of horror.
It's a game, but it needn't have been on a board.
Yeah, Game of Death opens with a character asks another character, "So, you're fucking Tom?" And then it goes to a phone recording of a character called Beth talking to someone saying, "So and so wants to fuck." Then it goes to stupid phone camera recordings on a beach of these teens talking rubbish. Then a guy drinks piss. And this is all after we've seen a guy sitting on the edge of his bed having a wank. And then the teens make their way to this house where they're going to play the Game of Death, but they walk past this guy in a dress who's mowing the lawn next door, and he does the old sign. Then they get inside the house, a girl sits on a guy's face, while another girl simultaneously fantasizes about her stepbrother. Then they see the game, and they start playing.
Yeah, kind of. I feel like that was a little
That's
bit...
the opening.
Can you let me finish? I feel like that was a bit like leading people down the wrong path because they didn't
How?
go to the house to play the game.
Okay, they didn't go to the house specifically to play the game.
They didn't know the game was there.
But all that other stuff happens. It's kind of like irrelevant whether they go to play the game or not. I'm just saying how the movie opens.
And if you'd also let me go back to another point that you've brought up there in that list is... So, one of the girls is video calling her brother, who's the wanker.
The wanker brother.
Literally wanker.
Yeah. Remember how he was doing it though? Like his arm was blatantly too far away from his side for it to be a real one. So he's not method.
Can't say I've watched many guys
not
wank,
method.
but so and apparently as well, it's mentioned sometime later in the movie
Not many, just some.
that someone's like, "Oh, your brother, he's like always just jerking off, isn't he?" So apparently this is just what he does. He sits at home and jerks off. But
Very
his,
strange
His
opening.
sister, who's like, I guess like the bad girl, hottie of the group.
Is she the one that survives towards the end? Blonde.
Short blonde hair.
Beth.
Yeah, she's videoing and being like, "Oh, so and so wants to fuck you. Get over here."
I've already said that.
And that's, I know, but I'm saying that it was her to her brother
I'm
about the
just
friend.
winding you up. You're very easy.
Well, I get to a certain point and then it's easy. But the reason I have to clarify this is she's like, yeah, so she's got her brother over to apparently have sex with her friend. But throughout the rest of the movie, there was some serious, like, incest vibes going on between her and her brother.
Yeah,
between the
said
wanker and
she
the
fantasizes
slutty.
about him
Yeah. It's
while the other girl sits on the guy's face.
disturbing. It's really disturbing. And this isn't the only movie we've seen like that recently. There was another one recently where, like, a girl and her dad had some super weird
It's
relationship.
because even though I've put it at number one, the movie has pretty much has nothing, right? So they have a good concept. The concept is good. You know, let's just have a board game where you start playing it. If you dare to play it, you're generated a random number, and whatever that number is, you have to go out and kill that many people. But it's everything. It's everything's right. They know that they've executed it so badly. They just put sex stuff in there, and you know things and like slow motion bullet scene that is going slowly towards Beth's head and stuff like that. It just doesn't add to it, but still my number one considering what had come previously. And once they get into the house and they start playing the game, I don't know if you recall.
Yeah, but again, before you even get there, I was going to say,
It's better be funny at least.
I thought it was super weird, because what kind of group of, like, sexualized teens who are, like, having a party find some dusty old board game and, like, yeah, let's sit down and play a board game?
Well, they're all wanking and stuff.
Oh, and
so-
one of them's their drug dealer, I just realised.
Yeah.
he's come over as well.
They're living on the edge of society, these people.
So you were going to say they bring it out.
Bring it out, and one of them puts his finger towards the board, and I just recall a little prick coming out of the board, and which pricks his finger.
It did all of them.
And he starts to bleed. It goes all of them. Okay, but
Yeah, that's
it does
how the
all
game
of them.
starts.
But one of them takes
drug
particular.
dealer.
He doesn't take too
Flips
kindly
out.
to it, and he's like, "For all we know, everybody's got AIDS."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the way the game starts, they all have to put their finger on a little skull on the outside of the board, and it takes a bit of their blood. So, like, yeah. So he's pricked the finger, and yeah, that's the drug dealer guy who's, like, freaking out about what he could have caught from this old game that takes people's blood.
So they get the number 24, so they've got to kill 24 people, otherwise the board will start killing all the people that started to play it. So they don't believe it.
Was this the movie that had an obsession with manatees?
Yeah. This is the Manatee movie. It's directed by two French weirdos, I suppose.
I just clarify, not only in that house, but also later in the movie in like other people's houses. Whenever there's a TV on, it's just some documentary about manatees.
Yeah, pretty much opens with manatee, it closes with manatee.
There's a lot of manatees.
There's a lot of manatee in it. So back to number 24, they've got to kill 24 people. Mm-hmm. And of course they don't believe it, so they keep on partying. And one of they go outside, like the porch bit, the backyard bit, and Dick Face guy, as I've called him, because it's just a skinny character who just has a dick drawn on his face during all of his appearance in the movie. He goes outside and he brings a guy a drink. And this guy starts complaining that his head is hurting. And he's like, "Oh, just drink this, it'll be fine." There's a little bit of a drink. All of a sudden, poof, his head explodes. And everyone starts to freak out. And it's like, "Oh, well, they work out this must be because of the game." And then quickly, Dick Face Man's head then also explodes. So that's one of the reasons I put it as number one, that I wasn't mad at the throbbing, exploding heads.
It looks so stupid.
It looks stupid.
Especially because, not the first one so much, because they're still
I'm not mad about the idea.
Keep it under wraps a bit, but the more you see it, the more they like lean into the prosthetics of like their head literally blowing
They
up.
show too much, basically. When they first show
So
it, the
dumb.
camera's quite set back from the action. So when you see the head explode, it's just an explosion of red. And then when they start to, put the camera next to the guy's face as it's, contracting, it's and expanding. It's not as good. But so these two people have now had their heads exploded. And all of a sudden the game has gone from 24 on its little board to 22. So they decipher that the game is real. So then let's call him the lead guy. I think his name was Tom, the more psychotic guy who's going out with Beth. He then takes it into his own hands. He's like, "Right, we've got to go out and do this." And then he goes and gets the guy in the dress who was mowing the lawn and suggested a little bit of oral. He goes next. And then they hit the road. And one of the guys is a pizza delivery guy.
The drug dealer.
The drug dealer is also a pizza delivery guy.
And you're the tall psychotic one that you're mentioning, that's the brother, right? The wanker.
I don't really actually have any recollection on who was pleasuring themselves.
Basically, the two people who are most keen on I don't care about killing other people as long as we survive are the siblings.
Tom and Beth.
Yeah.
I know their names. I know who they are, so I don't need to call him the wanker. How crude. So these two drive off, they don't care, and they're in the pizza guy's, the drug dealing pizza guy's car, which is, a proper pizza delivery car with a slice on top and all that, and like mushrooms and peppers all around the side. They drive off, and the first thing they do is they run over some guy, and they back up on him back and forth, and they get out, and he's split in half, and all of his intestines are everywhere. Then we're introduced to the lady sheriff/deputy who's like singing along on her CB radio, gonna get some teens and arrest them later. And she was quite enjoyable, but the problem was that scene then went on too long and it just became annoying. Then she gets to the murderous lot, and she gets out of her car and she sees the pizza car, and it reminds her of the pizza jingle from this company online. She starts singing the pizza jingle to these teens, and again, it started off like okay, but it just went on for too long again, from just being kooky to just annoying.
So this is my point though with this movie, because again, I know what they were trying to do. So we see her, before we even see her in the car, she's at home with her dog, and it's like clearly just her and her dog, and it's like we're supposed to really like this person, realise that some living creature is dependent on her, and basically the whole thing of this group of people that we've been watching, what more right to life do they have than the people they're planning on killing for the game's sake? So I know what the point of her was. And again, there's her doing that pizza jingle again is because in that moment, we know that two of the people there would just as likely kill her, and the other 2 people want her to be safe, so they keep trying to like get her to leave, basically.
Yeah, pizza guy and sit on face girl tell her to leave, where Tom and Beth won't really give a crap. And then someone sitting in the car while she's singing this pizza song, whether she's ended it or not, their head then explodes in the back of a car. She's alarmed, but then Tom and Beth drive off.
Also, you said that I was crude for not calling him Tom, for calling him Wanker, but you just called the other girl sit on face girl. You don't know her name.
I don't know her name, so I've got to go by her actions. And as
so how can you call me crude?
As the fairer,
you did the same.
The fairer of the species, it's cruder coming from you.
Double standards. Oh,
I just call it outright sexism.
Oh, and also at one point, yeah,
no. We're not finished with the drive off yet. So the head explodes. Tom and Beth drive off. The pizza lady is left then with sit on face girl and pizza guy, and all of a sudden, pizza head guy, he's sitting on the side of the curb and his head is starting to.
Yeah, he's next to go according to the game.
So you've called him pizza guy and sit on face girls like the 2 who are less likely to kill the lady.
Yeah, they were not going
so
to.
The lady is like sitting next to pizza guy's head while his head is expanding, and the girl, sit on face girl, realizes that if she doesn't go and kill the deputy sheriff lady, whatever she is, then
Park
pizza
ranger.
guy's going to go. So she goes and shoots the park ranger. In the meantime, Tom and Beth, to end this all, decide to drive towards a hospital.
Hospice.
But not before. They probably talk about their plan somewhat, and they're standing by like a lake in front of their car, and the camera lens just slowly zooms in on them while they just make out for, a minute and a half.
Ugh.
Yeah.
What was the need to put incest in this? It just had no reason whatsoever. They
Well,
didn't have to be siblings.
Maybe it's a French artiste thing.
But yeah, this was what was so ironic. So the girl especially and the pizza drug dealer
Maybe
guy.
he say, I only make this horror movie if I can put some incest in there.
That's how the meeting could have gone there. Now that's another accent for you. There were 2 directors, by the way, so 2 pervs. 2 French pervs.
So anyway, going back to what I was saying, this girl.
Imagine how that would actually.
I had this great idea for this movie. Would you like to do it with me, Jacques? I will only do this movie with you if we can put incest. I have already thought about that. It's in there. Then I am in.
You are so dumb. You're so silly. And your accent's slipping, I have to say. French isn't your best.
I have less experience in the French accent, so it's not bad for like a first time, pretty much.
So yeah, this girl who's decided, and she said to the siblings.
So
as
you're
well,
saying my Russian is on point? Yes.
Please, can I finish one sentence?
I'm gonna wait for
Ever.
Chuko's examination.
Can we
of it.
petition to have him silenced, please?
You wanted me on camera.
Now I want you to be silent. At least for a minute. Well, actually, that's a bit much. Anyway, this girl has said, and she's trying to convince everyone, she's, rational in that she says, well, how can we kill other people, all these other people, just so that we stay alive? What right do we have? So she said that. Then, as you said, when the drug dealer guy, pizza guy, gets his head, starting to blow up, she then offs this park ranger woman without a second thought. And then she's like, oh, actually, no, yeah, my original thing was right. We shouldn't let people die. And in the meantime, the siblings have gone to a hospice. So I guess their idea is well, I guess she had a point, but if these people are dying anyway, why don't we just go and speed them along? So they go, and there's a bloodbath of them just going around offing people, all these residents, patients, until they get to a little girl. And then there's a standoff. Yeah? Because the 2... Okay, he's actually taken it right to heart. The 2... the 2 siblings are in there doing their killing spree, and then the 2 good ones have chased after them to stop them. And I think they wanted to kill them to put a stop to the whole thing. You may speak for a bit now, Johnny. I can see you wilting away.
So, pizza guy and sit on face girl arrive at the hospital, like you said. Tom wanders off, and then unfortunately for him, they kill Beth. and then Tom comes back, and I think Pizza Guy puts his thumbs through Tom's throat.
Like literally thumb going through flesh, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
And also,
that's really
you've
realistic.
also failed to mention that during Tom and Beth's killing spree in the hospice, it's interspersed with animation. Do you not recall that?
Yeah, vaguely. They tried to do something like really artsy with that spree, didn't they? Like Kill Bill
so
style
they
or something.
put the animation in there, and then when they kill Beth, as I previously mentioned, Beth's kill is the slow motion bullet careening towards her forehead while some operatic music plays in the background. And then at that point, we are then down to just one more person to kill. So you've got Sit on Face Girl and Pizza Guy left. And Sit on Face Girl then makes this speech. She's like, we think we're so significant. We mean nothing. I mean, really think about it. Like, I mean, that kind of speech.
Sounds riveting.
So then she gets rid of Pizza Guy, and she says, death is a bonus level, because it's game over. And then the movie's pretty much over, and the game has been played. They've reset it all to 0. Sit on Face Girl has survived, and then we cut to a police department, depot, and there's a stripper, Father Christmas, so Santa Claus as a stripper, giving gifts in the police department, and he gives it to the cop that checks in visitors or whatever, and he's given him the game of death. I don't know why they had a male Santa stripper in the police department. Is this another French, perversion?
Well, I thought it was weird that they were giving out old, evidence things as gifts. That was stuff from, the storeroom. And they were just like, yeah, let's put that in and give that as a gift.
There's some kind of tradition that a male stripper Santa comes to the police depot, and we all get to pick one thing from the evidence locker for him to hand out, and we get to keep that forever.
I would like that. That's a good tradition for me.
As in, you want to be a cop just so you can go through that, or you want a stripper Santa to bring you
gifts,
evidence from lockup.
Yeah. Basically.
So this was number one because of
because
of the head explosions. It didn't last very long. It was a good concept. It was completely wacko, and I've said all that, but it's not a very good movie. But I wasn't really bored or mad at it or any time. There was no Cole in there.
Cole didn't annoy me as much as it annoyed you, clearly, because
Cole,
I found all of them very annoying.
You watched, you followed,
yeah, but they
you
were all
commented,
annoying.
then
At
you
least
watched again.
That was funny.
Until it starts very quickly becoming jarring. God, I hate him.
Well, if you guys like watching probably crappy movies, then you guys can have a watch of both of those, if not all three, and let us know who is in the right here, because
the right about what the
top choice.
Top choice.
Yeah.
Well, once again, it's another week where none of these movies will ever win first place anywhere else ever again. Last week's from the first place, this week's first place, most of the first places. We've already decided as well, because of you, because you've picked the first movie for the next lot of movies, and you said to me, I want to watch something stupid because you were tired or whatever. So we've got another 3 stupid movies coming up after this one. One of them probably involves a fucking escape room, or
one of them involves a game where a girl pops up out of nowhere. So we can finally get to that one, which you tried bringing up earlier.
I think so far, because I think we've already watched one. Next week's movies are at least maybe slightly better than these ones. Yeah.
I mean, we're going to watch one with Pammy, I think, for this week. So
no, that's not part of it. You can't just come in and start interrupting, what I've put together just because Pammy's got a new movie out. Not a new movie, but a movie that I haven't seen. Someone else is in it as well, aren't they? There were a couple of faces. Paris Hilton's in it.
That's it, Paris Hilton. Who doesn't want to watch a horror movie with Pamela Anderson and Paris Hilton in it?
Was it even a horror movie? Or was
Yeah,
it just
of
a
course it
random
was.
one? It was on the selection of movies we all think you'll like. Thank you, Mr. Bezos. Yeah, he recommends movies to us. And yeah, the Pammy.
No, it definitely was
Pammy
horror.
Paris Hilton was even better then.
Exactly.
It will certainly be on here, but probably not
Can't
for the
wait.
next episode.
Can't wait for how crap it's going to be and hilarious probably.
Well, I wouldn't have too high expectations in case you get disappointed. So, yeah, Game of Death #1, lit AF. I'm talking fire, bro, for reals.
Yeah, so hit that follow, hit subscribe, like.
Oh, I've also got to thank Rainbow Fright DeRay for pouring one out for me.